One of the Dominican women, though, she's going to come on Wednesday, and they're going to bring a cake, and I can eat it from her boobs. So wow. She's much more intimidating in person.
Yeah,
you know,
she's a
Notre Dame soccer legs.
Oh. Welcome back to another episode. Back. We have taken a few weeks off. Mark was traveling a bit. I was around waiting for Mark to get back from traveling a bit. We were all traveling. But yeah, we're back.
Many trips taken, Brian.
Many trips were taken. For our first story, Jimmy Buffett proves legends never die. The musician's most iconic album, Songs You Know by Heart, officially reached the top 10 status on the charts this week. Billboard also estimates that since the album was released in 1985, it has sold more than 8 million copies in the U.S. alone. The album's surge in the charts follows the unfortunate passing of Buffett, whose songs celebrated his laid-back lifestyle, inspired legions of devoted parrot heads, spawned a lucrative business empire, and established, dare we say, the most iconic restaurant in Times Square, which I was last week having a little Cabo Wabo.
What does that mean? Can we get a translation?
Cabo Wabo is his tequila. Cabo Wabo,
okay.
One of his many business empires.
Apparently, he doesn't actually drink the margaritas at Margaritaville.
What does he drink?
Does he drink?
Did he drink?
Sensitive topic. But it is a Times Square establishment that I have gotten drunk at once or twice.
Rest in
Almost
peace,
fell in the pool one time.
Rest in peace, Jimmy. We miss you.
Rest in power.
What a legendary journey he's had.
Cheeseburger in Paradise is a great song. Heaven on Earth with an onion slice.
Yes.
Not too particular. Well, did the SBF pay his fucking bill? He'd be worth $1 billion and $55K. Fucking asshole not paying our boy Jimmy.
Dude, Margaritavilles, they crush. I was in there, dude. There was people staying there. People were loving it.
I have a dream one day I'm going to retire and just be a parrot head. Like, embrace the lifestyle, move to Key West or some shit. Like, wear those Columbia PFG things. Root for Alabama. Why not?
Burning Man flooding leaves attendees stranded in the Nevada desert. An unusual late summer storm turned Burning Man's week-long concert into a sloppy mess, and not the fun kind. Tens of thousands of partygoers were stuck in foot-deep mud and with no working toilets in the northern Nevada desert. Organizers closed the festival to vehicles after one death was reported, but officials have provided no further details of the fatality. One and only Mark Moran was in attendance. Tell us about your Burning Man trip and experience.
I'm the last person I ever thought would go to Burning Man, Brian, and let me tell you, it was something I meant to fly in and fly out, and that did not happen to plan. I actually had the whole Burning Man experience, which was enlightening, to say the least. I left with there was an elderly woman who took a special interest in me. And she pulls me aside and she goes, do you think by chance you might be, what was it called? High functioning autistic? And so for the past few days, I have been grappling with potentially I may be in the likes of Elon Musk or whatever. So I called my parents. I'm like, hey guys, I know I'm turning 32 in a few days, and did I ever like test positive for like autism or anything? And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, all right. So they said no. My parents said I'm not autistic, highly functioning, but we're all on the spectrum. So yeah, it kind of fucked with my head a little bit. But other than that, would I go again? No.
That wasn't a hard no. That was a maybe.
I mean, did I find the orgy tent? Did I not find the orgy tent? I don't know. It's one of these things. It's kind of like, oh, there's the principles. There's blah, blah, blah. Let's all like act like we're good people, but we drive our RV. We emit fossil fuels, which horrible, and leave no trace. I mean, I left a lot of zins there.
What was the highlight?
The highlight was there was this, I believe he was a homeless man named Blackout who was serving as a bartender and just ended up vibing with the guy. And then he had a stuffed animal that he would bring around with him that had a dildo attached to it. And I just thought it was hilarious. But I would say probably the overall highlight was some of the activities that were going on. A lot of networking that was going on. A lot of physical networking that was going on, but it was an interesting experience to say the least. My chakras are aligned.
That's it. Glad to have you back, and hopefully refreshed, and your perspective has changed. Yeah, you got to figure that one out. Yeah, what was the rain? How was that? Like, did it just hit you? Like, what was your experience?
Well, I was on a journey when it hit, and I woke up, and I'm looking at Twitter because naturally that's the first thing I do at Burning Man. And I'm like, there's Ebola. Some guy has been killed. The CDC's, there's hazmat suit. Biden's been briefed. What? And then I'm walking around, it's just a bunch of fucking drugged out hippies. Like, it was fine.
It was overblown, huh? How does it feel to be part of something where you just see the crazy amount of like external media pressure around it and all the narratives that appear? Like that must have been fucking.
I like adding to the chaos too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're perpetuating
Fake
it. It's
news,
like
baby.
I might have had Ebola. I don't know.
Should I get on a plane? I don't know.
Well,
Before we continue though,
yes.
don't close out of this video. Brian, take it away.
That's it. We still have some Mark's latest thoughts on China, our reactions to the infamous Delta Diarrhea plane, thoughts on the newly released Elon Musk biography, and more. Please make sure that you're subscribed to the Bullish Studio YouTube. You're following us on wherever you get your podcasts. Like the video and leave a comment on how we could improve or what you liked about this episode.
Apple has some new competition. China's Huawei Technologies has Chinese tech fans excited amid the release of their fast-charging 5G foldable phones. The move comes ahead of Apple's upcoming launch event and follows Beijing's recent move to ban the use of iPhones at some government offices. But China's Apple rival is now raising doubts as to how well U.S. export controls actually are. Until now, these restrictions have crippled Huawei's business and their ability to acquire high-tech parts like chips and advanced processors. Brian, what do we think about Huawei?
Huawei's been like allegedly spying on the U.S. by pumping their phones into us. So I think rightfully so, they kind of put the kibosh on that. And honestly, Samsung has had these foldable phones for a while. They're wild. They're very interesting. But we got to be very careful of Huawei around here. I mean, getting into the telco system.
I mean, they're called Huawei. If we change the spelling to like W-A-W-A-Y, that could be a gas station. We could Americanize it. But Huawei?
Speaking of gas stations, did you see that the infamous Come and Go train out in Colorado in the West is no longer
train or chain?
The chain.
Oh,
train.
I thought you said sorry.
No, yeah. Come and Go. K-U-M and go. Yeah,
it's
a
no.
whole
It's
thing.
no
I have
more?
a big shirt.
Should we buy the IP?
Let's sniff into it. That's it. We should keep it going. We got to keep the
Come and
train
go, baby.
alive. For the first time since 2003, the U.S. is importing more goods from Mexico than China. The shift of decades-long trend comes amid heightened economic and geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and China. As a result, U.S. companies have been diversifying their production out of China. Even Apple, which makes most of its products in China, is starting to diversify its supply chain out of the country and into a number of others throughout Asia. Here's a little chart showing where Mexico is catching up to the Chinese imports into the U.S. Mark, how do we feel about Mexico taking up some of China's trade exports?
I love it, Brian. I would like to take a moment to thank our friends south of the border for doing their part to support the world as a whole, to really come together. You know, Mexico, they are like our younger brother that we're helping them, you know, play Little League, teach them how to throw a baseball, all that stuff. One thing that stuck out to me one time when I was in Mexico is someone says to me, you know, we're just as corrupt as you guys are. You guys just actually try to hide it. We don't, which I thought was a fair comparison when you think about everything going on in politics these days. But look, I love this. Honestly, we need more Mexico, more India, everyone but China, Russia, and North Korea. Now that North Koreans are meeting with the Russians, more Mexico, arriba.
Una
Bueno,
cerveza,
muy bueno.
por favor.
Más o menos? Más, claro que sí.
Let's talk about the Diarrhea plane. A Delta plane carrying over 330 passengers from Atlanta to Spain was rerouted and had to make an emergency U-turn.
Who's going from Atlanta to Spain, though?
That is a random flight, yeah. They had to turn around the flight after one female passenger had an explosive diarrhea incident all down the plane. Maintenance crews spent 5 hours cleaning the plane after its enforced early landing, including replacing an aisle carpet that was ruined during the incident. Grossed out passengers reboarded the flight to Spain after an 8-hour delay. Accounts from some on board detailed the flight crew doing their best to mop up the mess with paper towels and scented disinfectant, which made the plane smell of vanilla shit, one passenger said.
I hate to say it, but if this female passenger were to come out and show her identity, she would probably have a very lucrative OnlyFans career are farting in jars. I mean, there's some money to be made
Yo,
here.
is this the second incident from the woman that thought there was an alien on the plane? Is this
I mean,
is this her comeback?
Have you seen her Twitter?
Yeah, she's been going.
She's up to something. I don't know what, but she's up to something.
This sounds like a death fucking tube in the sky.
I mean, how do you have that much? Like, one person, right? Like,
I'm convinced that also airplanes, whatever they do in the the air or the food, they put stuff in that tube to make it so you don't shit. Because I don't know, it's always funny how you kind of really don't see. I don't know, it doesn't feel like.
Did you see there was a couple that got caught having sex in the bathroom on a flight? I only got my news from the New York Post, so. It was a push alert.
Another one joining the Mile High Club. Nothing wrong with that. I don't understand, right?
It hurts nobody. It benefits the economy. They paid for the tickets. Might as well use the bathroom.
Why not? And you double it up. You're getting, you make that line move a little faster, right?
Exactly. Elon Musk's bombshell biography hits the shelves. Biographer Walter Isaacson, who describes Musk as a man-child, details the CEO's journey from a bullied kid in South Africa to the tech billionaire he is today. Isaacson got widespread access to Musk for over 2 years to write the book. He also explores Musk's family life, various business ventures, the Twitter takeover, his struggles with Asperger's, concerns about AI, SBF, and so much more. There's also gems like this quote from Musk. Unless the woke mind virus, which is fundamentally anti-science, anti-merit, and anti-human in general, is stopped, civilization will never become multiplanetary. What do we think about civilization becoming multiplanetary?
Sounds like this is going to be quite the story about Elon. I mean, it sounds like he got a lot of really interesting access. I'm curious to hear about his kids and all these other random
I want to hear about his ketamine habits.
His ketamine habits? Yeah, he's been doing a lot of it, I guess, casually, right? At parties and stuff. Supposed to help him.
Which we now know is a horse tranquilizer.
Yep. But yeah, I'm excited for this to come out. I mean, Walter's like an OG in the tech reporting journalism world, so I think there's no better person to kind of tell this story than him. So yeah, it's exciting to see.
Man-child, though, it doesn't seem like Walter likes Elon.
I mean, I just think it's also accurate. I mean, come on. We see his behavior on the internet. I mean, he's kind of like you in that sense. And as you read through this, it's kind of like, a lot of this sounds like you. Struggles with Asperger's. Okay.
You're telling me my parents are lying to me? I should get a check from the government, honestly, for the 3 days of absolute turmoil I went through. Anyways, what's the next article, Brian? Bring it up. I don't want to sit with my thoughts anymore. Is the mighty American consumer about to hit a wall? In an investor-focused survey published by Bloomberg, we love our friends at Bloomberg, more than half of the respondents said that their consumer spending will shrink in early 2024. This would be the first quarterly decline since the onset of the pandemic, diminish any hopes of the economy reaching a soft landing. The findings appear quite different than the positive market outlook permeating through summer brought on by lower inflation and lower unemployment. What do we think?
I don't know. This is an interesting one. I mean, the consumer, everybody talks about how much credit card debt people have, but it's really not adjusted for kind of where people have been and where they are and what the market looks like. I don't know. Stocks are also not connected to the consumer. I mean, yes, they are, but it's all about future earnings and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I feel I don't know. This is also people clicking buttons in a survey about how they feel.
Yeah, unless Alexander Semenova or Shinali reported this, do we really believe it?
Yeah,
that's up to you, the viewer.
I don't know. The consumer seems strong, and as we go into the end of the year, we're going to see what holiday looks like. I mean, I feel based on a lot of people going to Europe and traveling a lot this summer, Europe was out of control. We saw
diarrhea was crazy in
Spain. Going to Spain, but yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see. It's I don't know. The stocks are hitting all-time highs. I don't know.
None of it makes sense.
Nothing ever makes sense. And that is all for this week in money. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you again next week.
For Next Week in Money.
See you soon.
We're going to find the orgy tent, which I believe is somewhere over there.